It's Monday here in Provo, and a little bit of a somber mood at BYU football practice. Big news coming out today that freshman quarterback Taysom Hill done for the year with a knee injury. He will require surgery. Won't be back for this weekend's game against Oregon State. I'm Jared Lloyd, Daily Herald sports editor, here with Jason Franchuk, Daily Herald football columnist. And Jason, what does this mean to the team to lose Taysom Hill?
First, it's amazing, Jared. You know, of all the things that have changed in sports media, I remember when you used to be able to tell a guy had a knee injury. Taysom Hill, we couldn't tell. Oregon State's quarterback that we'll talk about has a knee injury that nobody knew about until the coach announced it today. Just a wild day leading into what really is a marquee game with BYU on the rebound, defensively so strong, Oregon State in the top 10. But going back to your question here, long-winded me, Taysom Hill, it's a very tough situation because now you've got two things. You've got Riley Nelson. You know this as well as anybody, Jared. He's vulnerable with that back injury. What can he do going forward? How much can they run him? Now you've got maybe Alex Cressa coming back in the picture, moving from wide receiver, and that's an option coaches have talked about. And you've got James Larrick, and everybody's kind of wondered what happened to James. And James is lost soul isn't the right word, but this hurt him to be demoted to number 3 instead of Taysom Hill. I think he understood it as far as Taysom being a freshman, looking toward the future, all that stuff. But that hurt a guy to not have that chance, and to kind of get this back door presents some interesting opportunities, but also some interesting problems with how do you get him back in the right frame of mind. Hopefully he's there for BYU because they may need him. But just a wild, wild weekend, Jared. I was there. I told you after the press conference Friday night after they beat Utah State, I didn't see it coming. It was totally out of the blue to see a kid that didn't appear to be in that much pain and certainly didn't express it when he was talking to people. So just an amazing situation over the weekend.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff Hurst, the head football athletic trainer for BYU, and he said Taysom knew it pretty quick, that he'd done something to the knee. And anybody who's been around football for any period of time knows how vulnerable the knees are. It's not ACL, but it is inside the knee. There's some structural damage they're going to have to repair. The word is from Hurst that it'll probably be 4 to 6 months before Hill gets back. That doesn't necessarily make that much difference for this week because Riley Nelson is supposed to be back. They're saying that the back's looking better than it has in the last couple of weeks, and he looked pretty good today.
Yeah, you know, Jared, it's a glass half empty, half full situation because everybody talks about Taysom Hill could get ready for the future. I understand part of that, but you go back to a couple years ago, and Jay Keeps was the MVP of the bowl game, and Jay Keeps is no longer at BYU. So these are unique situations. Every year presents its own obstacles. I think what's tough for BYU to handle, 19 carries, and some of those, talking to people, was Taysom kind of just taking off. And that's what a freshman does who's fast, who's talented, who understands that's part of his game. He took what defenses gave him, but obviously, Jared, we know what is going to beat BYU coaches up. And talking to Brandon Doman, the offensive coordinator, you can tell he's been having a hard time with this, it was at the end of the game when they didn't need to do that. They just need to get down. Miscommunication with the staff, and things like this happen, unfortunately, sometimes.
So now it comes down to what will happen again this week against an Oregon State team that's ranked number 10 in one poll, number 14 in the other, missing their quarterback as well. So it won't be neither team really will be at full strength in that sense. So what do you think BYU needs to do this week against the Beavers?
Well, I think BYU's got to be disappointed, Jared. I think they're competitive. You talked to the defensive guys today and how much fun they're having. Jared, I don't think Oregon State's a top 10 team. I think they're one of those teams I've voted in the AP poll, the Associated Press poll, and sometimes it's a matter of, okay, a team lost, and you got to keep moving, and I think Oregon State benefited a little bit from that. But when they had Sean Mannion, it was clearly a decent offense that could do some things, and now you're going to get, what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Vaz is his
Vaz, yeah.
David Vaz or Daniel Vaz, something like that.
He played. I know he's played. He's never started, but he's played for Oregon State. And Mike Riley, the Oregon State coach, has talked about being confident with this guy, but that's different. It's going to take some learning experience. But what BYU needs to do is really stay focused. And this, again, is where I give Bronco Mendenhall. I almost look at it like, I don't want to be rude here and say Weber State, but it's a situation that there's a letdown, I think, from BYU to not be playing Oregon State at full strength if they don't already know that, if players don't know. But I think their ability to stay grounded, just focus on the opponent, look at some footage of Vaz, whatever they see, and, of course, of Oregon State's offense, go forward, try and get the win, and then get ready to go to Notre Dame the following week.
Yeah, this is a big stretch for BYU, too. Top 10 ranked opponents going into this week. It is going to be homecoming this Saturday at LaVell Edwards Stadium, and they're doing the blackout.
big time. I mean, the uniforms, it's not like Oregon, who changes every week, but I kind of like seeing teams mix it up. I'm an old, crotchety guy, Jared, but I've actually changed in that over the past few years. I kind of like seeing a different look once in a while.
Well, and it is going to be a one-time thing. They're just going to do it for this particular game, and we've seen the uniforms, and I have to admit, they do look pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of switching things up like this, but I'm okay with this, although it's kind of fitting with maybe the somber mood to be going with the blackout this week. So we'll be at LaVell Edwards Stadium on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. kickoff, regionally on ABC for this game against Oregon State.
You'll see me on the bench trying to get a helmet after the game. Those do well on eBay, I got to tell you.